So I just got to my local mall. I'm gonna hit up my local Mac store. And this is actually a really special location because this is the location that I worked at the most when I was a freelance Mac artist back in the day. So I'm excited to go in here. I'm hopeful that I maybe know one person that's still working there. I think I only know one person actually that still works there. So hopefully she's there today. We'll see. Otherwise, I'll take you guys through there and we'll pick out some of my favorites and we'll take a little trip down memory lane. And I'll see you guys when I am done. Good, how are you?
Do you have like a makeup vlog or something?
Yeah. Okay, so I just got back in the car. I'm sweating profusely. It's 112 degrees outside. It's so hot. I just finished shopping at my local Mac and there's a couple things that I wish they did have in stock that they didn't, sadly. So if I have time between when I finish doing this and then when I actually show you guys what I got for the haul, if I have time in between, I might try to run to another Mac location, maybe another one that's like 30 minutes away from me, and see if they have just a couple other things in stock that my location didn't have, unfortunately. One more thing I was gonna mention is this Mac location, I was, hoping that I would maybe by some chance see an employee that I used to work with or that I knew of or crossed paths with at some point when I was a Mac girl, but unfortunately there was nobody that I knew still at this location. So that was kind of sad. I was hoping to reminisce and run into somebody that I knew, but I didn't, sadly. I dragged Brittany to the Mac with me.
Here we are.
We made it. We got some stuff and that completes this haul, so stay tuned to see what I got from both stores. Bye. So I made it back from both locations where I did my haul. So now let me grab my bags and show you guys exactly what I got. So 2 locations. Let's dump out this one first because this was the most satisfying of the hauls because I got the most stuff at this location. You can see my receipt is almost as long as a CVS drugstore, those really long receipts you get at CVS, I think specifically. This reminds me of that, but I didn't even get that much stuff. I'll go through this bag in a second. So let's start with this first bag. I feel like I got the most of my all-time MAC favorites at this location. I kind of want to show you guys the eyeshadows I picked up first. I picked up, honestly, all of my back in the day, these were my ride or die eyeshadows from MAC. When I used to do makeup appointments, especially makeup appointments at MAC, which I was always doing makeup appointments when I was at MAC. When I would go to work, I would check my schedule and I had they wrote it down a daily sheet of your appointments. So I usually always had a couple appointments, especially like if I was working a shift that was, you know, towards the weekend, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like then I had a lot of appointments. And I loved, that was like my favorite part about working at Mac was just the appointments. I absolutely loved them. I was always so bummed when I would go to work and I didn't have anybody on my books, essentially, which was pretty rare unless it was like a dead Monday or random Tuesday where no one's doing anything. But anyway, so these were some of my ride or die eyeshadows. When I worked at Mac, I could not do a makeup application, like an eyeshadow look, without some of these. Like these were like my essentials. So let me talk to you about why they're my essentials. So first of all, you probably can't tell on camera like what they actually look like, but looking at them, they're just all neutrals, like all everyday matte neutral shadows. So I kind of want to start with a shadow that if you are someone who's ever shopped at Mac or got your makeup done at Mac, you'll definitely know the color Soft Brown. Soft Brown was like, that was the most popular transitional shade eyeshadow that Mac had. I feel like it was like one of the most popular ones. And if you don't know what a transitional shade is, I've talked about before, it's basically like the first color that you pop in your crease, and it basically like lays down the groundwork for the rest of your eyeshadow look. So it's neutral, it's complementary to a lot of different skin tones. If you're like my skin tone, a little bit lighter, a little bit deeper, this is a great like base color to put down on your eyes. And then from there, you could build any kind of look imaginable. You could pop like neons with this. You could pop bright colors, like super dark colors, shimmers, doesn't matter. This was like a holy grail. If you were a Mac employee, you definitely know what I'm talking about. Like this was a must. So Soft Brown, I'm super excited to have this back in my life. I have not had this actual shadow, especially in my makeup kit as a professional these days. I haven't had this in my kit for years, like at least several years. So Soft Brown. And also I forgot to mention too, if these shadows look interesting to you guys, or if you don't know, Mac has refillable shadows. So I chose to buy all of the refillable shadows instead of like the individual, like clicky, individually like packaged eyeshadows that you'll see on display when you go to a Mac store. So the reason I got these is because I'm just gonna pop them into an empty eyeshadow palette and save space, save money too. Like these are actually so much cheaper to buy than the, you know, actual individually packaged ones. So if you have like an empty palette lying around, or if you have like an empty spot where like, you know, you have an eyeshadow that's like down to the pan, pop it out, put one of these in there if it's the right size, and you'll save so much money. Anyway, so let me talk about the other colors that I got. I want to show you guys the next color that I got, which is Orb. And Orb is such a beautiful everyday neutral, and it was just such a necessity for me, especially as a Mac artist. I would love to use this as just something to like set an eyeshadow base. So if I was putting an eyeshadow base on a client, I would usually put this down on top of it to really lock it in. So like their makeup was like, you know, literally budge proof. Like it would not move from your face for days if you allowed it. So I would use this to like kind of seal down eyeshadow base, or I would just use it as like a pretty neutral, just eyelid color. It's also great as like a brow bone, like a soft brow bone highlight or a tear duct highlight. Orb is a must. So as I go through these, I'm just gonna pop these containers in there. So the next shadow I picked up that has also great, all these shadows, let me just remind you guys, all these shadows have like super fond memories for me. I love all these shadows so much. They just bring back great memories of working at Mac. So this shade is Wedge. It's kind of like the more cool toned version of Soft Brown. Like they're in the same kind of range of color, like intensity wise. They're, you know, the same kind of like tone. So they're like a light to medium mid-tone shade, and this was just more of a cool tone. So this would go great with like the more gray tones, like when you're doing like more of a gray smoky eye. This is a great crease color to start with. So Wedge, love it. Wedge is also great if you have like fair skin and more like a blonde hair, like a dirty blonde hair or light brown hair. It's great to fill in your eyebrows, super natural. Love that as a great hack for filling in brows. Another one that was also pretty good for filling in eyebrows was Cork. And so Cork is like a slight step up in tone from Wedge. And again, like there's just a theme with the colors that I loved. I loved all the neutrals. I still do, obviously. Like if you watch my channel, I'm such a neutral girl at heart. I love neutral browns. And so Cork might not look very different from Wedge that I just showed you, but I promise you in person, if you see it in a MAC store, if you have it or if you've used it, you know what I'm talking about. It's definitely different and it's unique in its own way and still beautiful. Like you can see, it's definitely a little bit darker. They go really well together, obviously. So another one that is like a must, and if you were a MAC employee or if you shopped at MAC, chances are you loved Saddle. So Saddle is a step up, if not 2 steps up from Soft Brown. It's a lot more warm, has more of an orange base to it. This is a stunning crease color slash transitional shade for deeper skin tones. This is like, it was so pretty. It is so pretty. So I am really excited to have Saddle back in my makeup kit. Like as soon as this video is done, I'm gonna pop these colors in my professional makeup kit and I'm gonna be using them again and reminiscing about my times as a MAC girl. But yeah, Saddle is so pretty. You know, we could not live without Saddle for good reason. And the last of my individual shadows, I actually wish I picked up more eyeshadows to be honest, but when I was at the store, I got so overwhelmed looking at them that I started thinking like, okay, I'm just gonna pick up the ones that I know I'm gonna love using again. I'm not gonna go crazy and like buy 20 different MAC shadows. I just don't need it. I have a ton of makeup. So I try to keep it like limited, but now I'm looking at these and I'm like, I could have bought some more fun colors. So you know what? I might go back eventually and like buy some more fun shades of like my MAC favorite shadows just to show you guys, because I did stick to like really, really everyday neutrals. And the last one that I got was Embark. And Embark honestly was like my favorite dark, super rich brown. It's got a little more warmth to it, like a little more of like a red base to it, which was so pretty, so beautiful. It was like an eyeliner, so beautiful for creating a smoky eye. It is just a beautiful, beautiful, really rich dark brown. So Embark is my last one, sadly. I'll probably insert like some footage of what these shadows look like, put in a empty palette so you guys can see just how they look together. Okay, so that completes my shadows. Now I want to move on to something that was like, I think I probably repurchased this and ran out of it for like my skin more than any other product at MAC, and that is NW25 Pro Longwear Concealer. Like this was it for me. This was like my favorite formula for under the eyes specifically. I thought it was such a genius formula. I remember when MAC launched this, is when I was at MAC, and it was just an incredible formula. It really was an all-day wear. Like it's a pro longwear concealer. It's meant to be like water resistant, sweat resistant, all those things. And like basically it's great for like bridal makeup. If you were like a bridal makeup artist, or if you had brides if I had brides that were coming in, I always use this under their eyes. It is a phenomenal formula. But the only complaint, or the thing that I didn't like about this formula, is so it comes in a glass bottle, which actually is shockingly easy to break. And I remember I broke numerous ones of these when I worked at MAC. And when they broke, most MAC stores had like a slate like tile floor. Anyway, it had a hard floor. So when you drop this, it went and like flew everywhere. And the glass is so thin that it was like, you had to like search and high and low and make sure you picked up all the glass so you didn't, let someone walk on it and step on it and God forbid like cut themselves. But anyway, they're a little bit dangerous, the packaging. I think they should have switched it to plastic, to be honest, but because they're just so easy. Like it's little, it's like it slides off the table, and like when you're in a hurry, which is always, if you're a MAC employee, you're always in a hurry. Like you're always trying to beat the clock and do someone's makeup in under an hour and then move on to the next one. So when you're in a hurry, that's when stuff hits the fan, and that's when you drop stuff. Even me, to this day, if I'm in a hurry and I'm being rushed, I'm gonna drop so much stuff around me, it's not even funny. I love this formula. NW25, I used to go through numerous ones of these. I was always like, I would pack it on under my eye. Like I would pack this on under my eye. And so I was always repurchasing this, and I was always selling this one. So if you're my skin tone, a little bit lighter, probably not a little bit lighter. If you're my skin tone, a little bit deeper, this is a great under eye concealer. So long story short, I love this concealer. I cannot wait to use this again for a tutorial using MAC makeup. So stay tuned for that. The next item that I picked up is along the same lines of products. This is the Prep and Prime highlighter. So when I was, again, a MAC girl, I loved this, and I actually used to wear this underneath my MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. This is the Prep and Prime highlighter. They're basically like, this one's basically like a color corrector. It's in the shade Bright Forecast. And so the reason why I like this so much is because Bright Forecast has more of like a soft peachy shade to it, or peachy undertone to it, which you can see like right here, kind of. This is like a pretty fair description of what the shade looks like. But so what I would use this for is to cancel out the dark pigmentation under my eye, and I would use it as a color corrector, which is the purpose of this product, just an FYI. But if you're deeper skin, you can also use this as a highlighter for your skin. But for me, this worked amazing at color correcting and canceling out the dark pigmentation under my eyes. So this was another ride or die product for me personally, and also just as an employee, I was always grabbing this to color correct my appointments or my customers' under eyes, and it worked so, so well. It reminds me, like, if you know the YSL Touche Éclat, I'm probably saying that completely wrong. It's same kind of component too, where it's like a twist up pen where like you twist up the product. Oh, that came out really fast. And then you swipe it on. It's thin and more like sheer like that product, but in my opinion, like way better, and obviously way cheaper because it's not YSL. But so Prep and Prime, Bright Forecast, such a must. So happy to have that again. I'm gonna go back to talking about kind of a brow product that was a necessity back when I was an employee, and that is Lingering. So Lingering Brow Pencil, we could not keep this stocked. So if you had blonde hair, even gray hair, even more of like a neutral light brown or a chestnut brown, anything lighter than my hair color, this pencil works for you. We filled in like half of the customers' brows with Lingering Brow Pencil. So it does look different now. They changed like the packaging. It used to be like a really, really skinny all black pencil. Now they have like the color to reflect the shade of the pencil, which is kind of cool. But I can't wait to put this back in my makeup kit as a professional makeup artist and use this on my clients, because I have at least 10 clients that I know will benefit from having Lingering in their lives. So can't wait to put this in my makeup kit. I don't know why I'm putting it back in the box. And let's move on to eyeliners. So I picked up my two all-time favorite MAC eyeliners. They're both the Eyeshadows. So they're the formula that's like super blendable, a little more creamy, and you have like more play with them, basically. They're not like a long wearing pencil by any means. They will run. But I've talked about these a little while back on my channel. I think it might have been the video where I talked about products that I'll always repurchase, maybe? I think so. Or products that I'll always use. I'll try to list it if I remember. But I talked about these very recently, and I showed you guys how beautiful they are. It's Costa Riche eye kohl from MAC and Teddy eye kohl. And so I'm gonna take them out. I'm gonna swatch them just so you guys can see them again, even though I know I've used them in a video before, and they're honestly two of my all-time favorite pencils. And also, when I was working there, I could not stop using these. I did so many looks with them. You could use them for so many different looks. They're so versatile. They look beautiful on everyone. So these are just a must. And the formula is just super easy to work with. Like I said, you can blend these out. You can set them. You can smudge them. You can just do endless things with them. So let me swatch Teddy to show you guys. And this is Costa Riche. So Teddy is like this deep, rich, more like bronze brown, like a dark chocolatey bronze brown. And then Costa Riche has more of like this beautiful warm tone, like more of a red undertone, caramel vibe to it. And they're so flattering. They're so pretty. Like I said, you can do so many different things with them. So to this day, like years and years later, I still am such a diehard fan of these two pencils. So happy that the MAC that I went to had these both in stock. I feel like Costa Riche is usually like out of stock, so we scored with that. And now let's move on to lips. I got two lip liners. I I stopped myself from picking up one of my, like my third favorite lip liner from MAC, which is Oak. And I talk about Oak all the time. I use it all the time. So I just couldn't bring myself to buy an extra one when I have two full-size ones sitting around the corner from me right now. So instead, I bought two that I have run out of a while ago, and that is Stripdown and Boldy Bear. Stripdown is like the deeper version of Oak. So it's the same kind of undertone. It's super neutral, looks amazing with a nude lipstick or even like a pink lipstick or a peachy tone lipstick. This looks phenomenal. So Stripdown lip liner, cannot wait to put you back in my makeup kit and use you again. And then Boldy Bear. Boldy Bear is so stunning if, let's say you're doing a bridal look, Boldy Bear is your jam. Like you need Boldy Bear. It's such a beautiful, it's almost like a your lip color, but better. Like if you're my skin tone, a little bit lighter or a little bit deeper, it's gonna be like your lip tone, but better kind of look. So it's not super dramatic. It's just like a really neutral, everyday lip liner that's so pretty with like a pink, a mauve, or a nude lipstick. So Boldy Bear and Stripdown, highly recommend. Could not live without those when I worked at MAC. And so the last product from that first bag that I picked up, it's not something that MAC used to carry when I was an employee. It is a new lipstick, and my friend Brittany turned me onto it like just recently, like a couple of days ago. She was putting this on. She was reapplying her lipstick in my car, and she was putting this on. And I was like, what is that? And what threw me off is MAC lipsticks are always matte. So let me show you what I mean. So matte lipsticks have like more of a satiny matte container, and this was a shiny MAC container. And I was like, what is that? She goes, this? I said, yeah, what is that lipstick? She goes, thanks, it's MAC. I'm like, oh. I'm like, is that the name? She goes, yeah. She's like, that's a genius name. Like, that is literally a genius name. So the color is called Thanks, It's MAC. And it's a luster lipstick. So luster is more of like the sheer, can be a little frosty, a little more on the sheer side, super shiny formula. So this color was so pretty. So I picked this up. It's stunning. I can't wait to use this in a tutorial and show you guys exactly what it looks like. It's such a beautiful, like, everyday color. Like, and also they started doing this, which I really appreciate. They started printing out, I mean, I guess they did this a while ago and I missed it, but because someone pointed out to me, but like way back in the day, they didn't used to print MAC on the side of the lipsticks. I think that's so cool. It looks so amazing. But yeah, so I picked up this new shade from MAC and I'm so excited to try it. I'm probably gonna keep it for myself and then maybe I'll pick up another one and put it in my makeup kit depending on how much I love it. I know I'm gonna love it, but that's it for that first location. So don't worry guys, we have a second bag to go through. So this was when I went to the second location, which you guys saw the footage of. I picked up a few more things that I felt like I was missing from my first haul. So save that receipt. I got my favorite foundation from when I worked at MAC. And that is the classic holy grail MAC Face and Body. So they now call it MAC Studio Radiance Face and Body, which throws me off. Like it's Face and Body to me. Like Face and Body is like, if you haven't tried Face and Body and you're like someone who's really afraid of trying a MAC foundation because, you know, you hear all like the chatter of like, no, it breaks you out and does this and does that. To each their own. What breaks out someone might not break out you. I feel like for a really, really long time, and it was something I was hearing repeatedly when I was on set and working with models, was that the stigma was that MAC makeup was notorious for breaking you out. I don't believe that is across the board true. Anyway, not to go on a whole tangent about that. I could talk about that for a really, really long time and I won't. But if you're somebody who is hesitant to try MAC makeup for that reason, or MAC foundation specifically, it is a incredible formula. This is a water-based formula. It's also waterproof. So I remember I bought a ton of these, and back when I bought these, they only sold the larger size. So MAC used to, back then, they have like a big squeezy size of this formula. And I remember when I was freelancing, like outside of working at MAC, I bought a whole bunch of these to put in my professional makeup kit, like my outside of MAC makeup kit. And the reason why I bought them was because I booked a job and I was so scared because I knew ahead of time that I was going to have to do a makeup that was going to be, the person I was going to do makeup on was going to be jumping into a pool for a scene. And I was like, oh my God, like having nightmares over this, like planning my my exit from makeup because I thought I was gonna bomb it and like the makeup was gonna like dissolve and like wash off, and I just had like horrible visions of what was gonna happen with this scene. So I talked to like a coworker of mine. They were like, you have to get face and body because it's waterproof. So I thought, well, genius. So I didn't know what the model or the talent was going to look like skin tone wise. So I think I bought more than half of the shade range, which is a lot. It's a lot. And they're big. They're double the size of bottles. So needless to say, my kit weighed 500 pounds by the time I was done buying face and body. So long story short, MAC Face and Body will forever and ever and ever hold such a special place in my heart. And to this day, I have downsized my MAC Face and Bodies. I only have about 3 in my professional makeup kit, and I really only use them for men. And it's not that often I do men for work, but it does come around. It does happen more. It does happen pretty often, to be honest. But this is a incredible formula for men's makeup. So if you're a professional makeup artist that's watching this video, you probably already know the glory of using face and body on a man. It's just a beautiful formula. It doesn't look like anything. It looks like second skin, and it's layerable beyond belief. So you can build this up to be a medium coverage. Initially, like one swipe of it going on is going to look so sheer, so undetectable. I also used to use this formula back when I used to do commercials, and I would use it on my kids. So I for some reason, I did a lot of jobs with kids back in the day. I actually still do, to be honest. I just did one recently for Barbie. But I used to work with kids a lot, and I would always use like the tiniest little sliver of MAC Face and Body, and it was perfect. Perfect. Never broke anyone out, never caused irritation, was never a concern, and I just knew it was going to perform amazing. The last thing I'm going to talk about with this foundation is it is for body as well. And I used to lather this on people's chests if they had like discoloration from the sun, like sunburns, tan lines, things like that. It is beautiful for that, especially for commercials when, primarily what I did outside of MAC was commercials. So I'd be on set and I would put this on people's legs, on their arms to cover up veins, whatever the case was. This worked amazing. But if you're someone at home and you're watching this and you're not a professional makeup artist and you're like kind of zoning out right now, which I hear you, I understand. If you're just someone who wants like more of a sheer natural foundation, try it. It's amazing. Moving on. Oh, and I got C4. I got C4 because I feel like it's going to match me right now. If not, C4 has always been like a staple in my makeup kit. So now the last 2 things I'm going to talk about are new to me. These were not around when I was a MAC girl. They are newer products. They're the Glow Play Blush. And the reason why I picked this up is because my friend Brittany said I would love it. And I swatched it at the store and it looked beautiful. It's basically a cream blush, but it has more of like a matte, satiny, almost like a moussey texture. Like it feels like a mousse when you touch it. It's like very like a mousse. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's not like a wet, shiny cream. It's more of like a satiny finish. So really interesting formula. I can't wait to show you guys what this looks like on my skin. I bought the shade Blush Please, which is just a really pretty everyday neutral blush. So I know I'm gonna get so much use out of it. It actually really reminds me of this lipstick too. So I feel like this combination is gonna be golden. And then the last thing I got, which was also because my friend Brittany told me I had to get this, and I was hesitant. I was like, I don't need any more brown eyeliners. Like, please don't make me get this brown eyeliner. She's like, all right. I'm like, really? Yeah, I have to get it? She's like, I'm just saying, like, you need to get it. I'm like, okay. So I had to get this brown eyeliner. So I hope she's right. I swatched it. It looked beautiful. It's the new formula. It's the MAC Color Excess Gel Pencil Eyeliner, and I got the shade Nudge Nudge Ink Ink, which is a really cute name. I'm going to swatch it to show you guys what it looks like in comparison to the other 2 eyeliners. But the formula itself is like really, really impressive. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to swatch it right now. Like how rich, and it almost has like a brick undertone to it. It's like a red undertone. It has a little bit of a metallic shimmer to it, which is kind of hard to tell on camera, but so pretty. And we swatched a couple of these. Well, actually, she swatched a couple of them on her hand, and we were like trying to rub it off her hand and it would not budge. So very impressed. Cannot wait to try this in a tutorial for you guys and show you what it looks like. So that is my MAC haul. I really hope you guys enjoyed this this little trip down memory lane and story time and just like me sharing my favorite products from MAC and also a couple new ones I picked up. Stay tuned because I have another video coming up using all of these products. I'm going to do a full-on MAC makeup look using only MAC products. And yeah, it's going to be a really pretty look. So you'll be able to see exactly what these colors look like on if you're not familiar with them already. And that'll be really fun. If you guys like this video and if you're a MAC fan or if you have any good memories of going to MAC and getting your makeup done, give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss my future videos. You can also find me on Instagram and TikTok. I'm more active on Instagram. You can find me there. I'm at Makeup by Nikki Rose, where I go on and I do lives every once in a while. You can DM me and we can talk makeup. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.